everybody, it is Thursday, means it's time for your Thursday Thought, and my thought for you this fine Thursday is kind of about property taxes, but also kind of about jurisdictions. And what I mean by that is that there are many places, so you obviously have Colorado Springs, which is obviously the big city here in the Pikes Peak region, but there are pockets inside of Colorado Springs that are unincorporated El Paso County. So like Strathmore Hills, for example, or there's a space up by actually Austin Bluffs and Academy. There are these places that are kind of really unique and interesting that they are actually in the county and not in the city limits itself. But it's like an oasis of the county, all surrounded by city. And sometimes, some people don't know this. And also, obviously, as you get out east, or even north and south, as you leave Colorado Springs city limits, you're in the county. And so, why is this important to you? Two, because it can really impact, your property taxes, right? I mean, if you're in the city, you typically pay a little higher property tax. And then also, when it comes to codes, rules, and regulations, especially when it comes to, your ability to develop your property. If you're inside the city, then you're going to be working with, obviously, Pikes Peak Regional Building Department no matter what, but some of the restrictions for the city code aren't applicable in the county. And also, being tied to the sewer system versus being on a well or being on a septic could actually vary greatly, kind of depending on where your house may be located. In addition to just being the incorporated Colorado Springs and the unincorporated El Paso County, there are also metro districts, which I've talked about before. But those are, again, just an overlay of the city, right? And so there may actually be more rules and regulations inside of that metro district, and there may be higher property taxes. And so to kind of look at it as a graduating scale, generally speaking, your lower property taxes and your less regulations or overlays would be just living in unincorporated El Paso County. But you may not have the best curb and gutter, for example, or the best ability to tie into utilities because you're not in the city. Also, you may have to call the sheriff's department for issues that might arise in your area versus Colorado Springs Police Department, which is something to keep in mind. So that's kind of like the lower costs and most free, if you will, if that's important to you. And then you move into the city, which is obviously all of Colorado Springs is located in El Paso County, and you have all kind of that overlay of city governance, and it's typically a higher property tax, but again, probably better curbs and gutters. Colorado Springs Police Department will be able to respond to things at your house, and then the overlay on top of that would be like a metro district. Yes, you're in the city. Yes, you're in El Paso County still, but then also you might have a metro district property taxes levied against you, levied on the property for things like that curb and gutter that's typically newer, although not always. A lot of the new home communities have these metro districts that add to your property tax, and typically the metro district, it's not an HOA, but it kind of functions like an HOA because they may have some things that say, hey, in this metro district, you can't leave a camper on the street overnight, or you need to get approval from the metro district before you build anything on a certain setback, or a certain size in the neighborhood or whatever it might be. So there's kind of some things to keep in mind is that there are different layers of governance on each property. So you have your unincorporated El Paso County, you have your city, and you can have your metro district on top of the city sometimes even as well. So if I forgot anything, anybody watch this, want to drop in the comments, that'd be great. If you have any thoughts, comments, questions about real estate, I'd love to be an asset to you. Please reach out, shoot me a message, shoot me an email, give me a call, shoot me a text, and I'd love to answer any questions you have about real estate or help you with any of your real estate goals. Thanks so much for watching this week's Thursday Thought, and we'll see you next week on next week's Thursday Thought. Ciao.